and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
Kick off the season with a winning team. Choose Hackett Security to watch your home while you're watching the game. Hackett Security has a system to meet every budget. They are a locally owned national security company with on-site 24/7 UL-listed monitoring. Visit HackettSecurity.com or call 314-432-4200. Who will be watching your home while you're watching the game? Hackett Security. They're looking out for you. 314-432-4200. HACKETT. Security.com.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Kuna Food Service has been the trusted food supplier in the Midwest since 1918. For over 100 years, Kuna has been distributing the highest quality food products to some of your favorite restaurants while delivering superior customer service. When a restaurant puts their trust in Kuna, they get a team that truly cares about their success. Check them out online today at kunafoodservice.com.
A little Steely Dan to move our Wednesday forward. Royal Banks of Missouri text line, we talked earlier about the former CEO over at Triad Bank, big, very well-respected business leader in our area, writing a really compelling, I thought, op-ed yesterday in the Business Journal about this idea that we just have to get over ourselves and really move forward on a city-county merger. A couple of you texting in saying, you know what, he is so 100% correct. But there's also this perspective. From the 314, in Maryland Heights, my trash is picked up, my roads are plowed, my pool's open in the summer. Can't say that based on what I hear about St. Louis City or County. I don't want my standard of living to decline. And somebody else saying city-county divide has been discussed. The newly elected comptroller for the city gave the most important reason. If you look at, for instance, why Kansas City was able to upgrade their airport, they have used their advantage in their mergers to try to move ahead of us in a lot of different areas. We have to pay attention to that as well.
So the county would be less likely to want a merger than the city.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about, right? The Better Together merger was trying to do all things for all people, and nobody was willing to get the least bit uncomfortable, which I think was part of the issue. The latest stuff that I've been reading is that the St. Louis City would just be merged into a county. We're one of the only cities in the United States that is not in a county. And then we would look at ways where we can merge services where it makes sense instead of having so much of these duplication of services, which some say is upwards of $1 billion a year. What can our region do with $1 billion a year? A lot, I think, that we're paying that other like cities are not because of the duplication of services under the current regime.
Yeah, and that's really that was like the number one campaign issue for our friend Mark Montavani. And at the time, it didn't click as much as it should have.
We as St. Louisans are really, really, really good at a lot of things. Friendliness, community, caring about people at least that we know in our area. We also tend to be a little bit territorial and tribal about our fiefdoms. And so it's going to require some trust and some understanding that, even though I love having whatever, where if I live, wherever, and I like having all those comforts and I don't want anything to change, if we're looking at situations, I think we have to take business leaders seriously when they tell us we're pitching against cities like Wichita and Des Moines. I love Des Moines, right? I got kids that live in Des Moines. But we shouldn't be losing maybe corporate headquarters and expansions and seed businesses to those kinds of cities because of our infrastructure issues, and we are. So something's got to change.
Per AI, the vast majority of U.S. cities function separately from county governments, which that sounds a little odd. I mean, I would think there would be more that are combined.
Right, but there, for instance, Denver's in the county, in Arapahoe County, I believe, but it's not that you have everything merged together. It's just it still exists in a county, and you try not to duplicate things where you can.
Well, we got to get Mark on to talk about it some more now. It's become a hot topic, or Mr. Regna, too.
Yeah, I think I got a text. I think McGraw is having Mr. Regna on tomorrow,
right.
so I'm very much looking forward to that conversation. And not surprised that McGraw was on that as well, because it's a really compelling op-ed wherever you are. If you're even neutral on it, it makes you think about some things.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to delve into a great movie. I think it's one of the great scary movies of all time, Silence of the Lambs, Tar Khan in the house.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T.
Basement E. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The all things Basement T experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry up that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
Reese Nichols, the most trusted Missouri real estate company, is now proudly serving St. Louis. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Alliance is now Reese Nichols, a Missouri-born company established 125 years ago. The same trusted agents who served St. Louis for 45 years now have the backing of Missouri's largest brokerage, Reese Nichols. Offices across the metro, in-house services include title and insurance, making your move seamless. They also proudly support the Ronald McDonald House. Visit ReeseNichols.com. That's ReeseNichols.com.
Are you prepared to take advantage of all the new changes in the tax law this year? Hi, I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and the author of the #1 best-selling book on taxes, Keep What's Yours. This year, we're celebrating 50 years helping area businesses get their financial plans in order, reduce their tax liability, and stop overpaying their federal and state income taxes. I'm also launching my newest book, Keeping What's Yours, the Strategic Tax Planning Guide for the One Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act made permanent many of the tax rules from the Tax and Jobs Act signed into law in 2017, but also added many new benefits to both businesses and households. My new book, Keeping What's Yours, the Strategic Tax Planning Guide for the One Big Beautiful Bill, outlines the details. Get your copy today at capitaladvisorygrp.com or find it on Amazon.
The home of ABC News. KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A billionaire connection that opened the doors of high society to Jeffrey Epstein and helped build his fortune is giving closed-door testimony today in the House Oversight Committee's Epstein investigation.
Les Wexner founded the popular clothing store The Limited in the 1960s. He was the main client of Jeffrey Epstein's financial management business starting in the 1980s. Documents show the FBI initially eyed Wexner as a possible Epstein co-conspirator, but prosecutors later said there was limited evidence regarding his involvement in the abuse of women and girls. The 88-year-old has denied any involvement in those crimes and says Epstein stole hundreds of millions of dollars from him.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The Trump administration has lifted its freeze on funding for the Gateway Tunnel project, according to the Development Commission. New York's governor says the commuter tunnel project across the Hudson was derailed by President Trump for no reason. The commission says it's working to deploy the $205 million now to resume construction next week and vowed to pursue all legal avenues to secure future funding. In a statement, New York's Attorney General vowing to keep fighting to prevent future slowdowns. In Northern California, a desperate search for 9 missing backcountry skiers following an avalanche near Castle Peak. ABC's Trevor Ault is in Nevada County near Donner's Pass.
We do know that backcountry skiers often have gear with them like airbag backpacks that can help them stay surface during an avalanche, but it's still not clear what kind of gear this group had with them at the time of the avalanche. What we do know is that when it comes to avalanche survival statistics, a fast rescue is critical, and these rescue teams know the clock is ticking.
6 members of the group survived and called for help yesterday. In Los Angeles, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has arrived at court to testify today at the trial accusing social media companies of making its app addictive for children. And on Wall Street, stocks are up in early trading today. You're listening to ABC News.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. A vigil was held at Parkway Central High School last night for a student who died in a weekend crash. Authorities say 18-year-old Olivia Bumbeck was a passenger in a vehicle that rolled over on I-64 near 141 and then fell down an embankment on Sunday night. Bumbeck had already completed all of her high school coursework and was planning for a future in healthcare by taking general education classes at a community college ahead of her planned graduation in May. The 17-year-old driver, also a Parkway Central student, remains hospitalized. A fire is to blame for destroying a South St. Louis home being used as an Airbnb. Firefighters were called to the burning home along Pennsylvania at around 3 this morning. No injuries were reported. The cause of the fire is being investigated. Bars, restaurants, and gas stations in unincorporated areas of St. Louis County are being warned that the use of illegal slot machines are in violation of their county liquor licenses. KTRS's Jill Enders has the story.
St. Louis County Executive Sam Page issued an executive order to direct the St. Louis County Department of Revenue to notify all liquor license holders that they must stop allowing customers to use the slot machines. Now, businesses in violation could have their liquor license suspended or revoked. This follows last week's ruling by a U.S. district judge that thousands of such machines found statewide in Missouri are unregulated and qualify as gaming devices under state law and therefore make them illegal. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
State Representative Amy Elick is speaking out about Illinois' economy ahead of Governor J.B. Pritzker's 2026 State of the State and 2027 budget address today. During a press conference yesterday, the Republican lawmaker said she expects more of the same.
Make no mistake about it, the governor has relied on tax increases and used smoke and mirrors to make previous budgets appear balanced, and I don't suspect this year will be any different. Governor Pritzker will blame President Trump, congressional Republicans, and anyone else but himself and his Democratic friends in the House and Senate for our budget woes. The blame is squarely on him and Illinois Democrats.
Pritzker's State of the State address is scheduled for noon today. The Lenten season begins today with Ash Wednesday. The Cathedral Basilica will hold Ash Wednesday Masses at 12:05 and at 5:30 this afternoon. The St. Louis County Pet Adoption Center is holding an emergency adoption event due to the high number of animals in the facility. More from KTRS's Steve Potter.
With more than 170 dogs and 34 cats on site, Public Health Director Kanika Cunningham is reporting a concern about the center being able to provide humane care and has called for an emergency fee-waived adoption event. Beginning today, adoption fees, which are typically $80, will not be charged until they reduce the number of animals there. Volunteers and staff at the Pet Adoption Center, which is located on Bower Road in Olivet, will be there to help you find the pet that you're looking for, and all animals there have been spayed or neutered and are up to date on shots and microchipped. In addition to this emergency adoption event, the shelter is actively seeking to expand its base of foster families. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. St. Louis-based Monsanto is agreeing to a multi-billion-dollar settlement with thousands of plaintiffs who allege its Roundup weed killer caused cancer. The proposed $7.2 billion settlement agreement would resolve a class action lawsuit alleging Roundup caused thousands to develop non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It would cover both current and future claims. A judge still has to approve the settlement. And now this look at the markets is brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Straight Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings 9 to 11. Big start to Wall Street this morning. Dow Jones right now up 325 points to 49,855. NASDAQ is up 302 points to 22,880. S&P 500 up 61 to 6,904. KTRS Sports. Matthew Liberatore has been named the starter for the Cardinals Grapefruit League opener on Saturday. Liberatore also figures to be the Birds' opening day starter next month as well. Mizzou basketball takes on number 19 Vanderbilt tonight in Columbia. It's another opportunity for the Tigers to score a vital win on the bubble. Expanded pregame coverage starts at 7 tonight right here on the Big 550. KTRS weather today sunny, high of 74. Tonight clear, overnight low of 45. Tomorrow a mix of sun and clouds, high of 72. Cool down on Friday, high of 49. Overnight temperatures this weekend drop below freezing. High Sunday and Monday will be in the upper 30s. But right now, clear, sunny, very pleasant, 66 degrees. The time is 11:08. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Wow. The name of the movie, Silence of the Lambs. Tariq Khan is in the house. This is our Back to the Feature segment. They made it for $19 million and made $272 million. And as we were talking the other day, it really had a great night at the Oscars.
That's right. The Silence of the Lambs were released 35 years ago this very month. It was Valentine's Day weekend, a kind of an unusual love story, I guess, if you will. And it was a film which both dazzled critics and audiences alike. It went on to be nominated for 7 Academy Awards and won the Big Five: Best Picture, Best Actor for Anthony Hopkins, Best Actress for Jodie Foster, Best Director for Jonathan Demme, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Only the third film in history at the time to pull that off, and the last one as of right now. So considered one of the greatest thrillers, one of the greatest horror films of all time, a masterpiece which still stands up today, and a film which people still love to talk about, The Silence of the Lambs.
Why do you think it set all those records and just completely shocked the country to the point where everybody felt like they had to see it to be in the know?
Yes. Well, if you break it down, The Silence of the Lambs, in a sense, it's almost like two films in one, because you have two big storylines going on. One, of course, is the pursuit for Buffalo Bill. And from the way the character, when he's first mentioned, he's introduced at the beginning of the film, you're sort of fascinated by, who is this,
he's
crazy
a serial
Buffalo
killer who's
Bill.
still active at the time.
That's right,
yeah.
exactly. And, of course, then you have Jodie Foster meet up with Anthony Hopkins, Clarice Starling as Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and that in itself, that relationship, that dynamic, that just takes on a life of its own. And the chemistry between the two, it's just so compelling, so mesmerizing. And, of course, Anthony Hopkins as Dr. Lecter, the cannibal who is just so creepy, but at the same time charming, just one of the greatest villains in film history.
Yeah, some of his lines, I thought that his best lines were directed at Senator Ruth Martin, played by Diane Baker.
Yes.
And he says things like, "Did you nurse your daughter? Oh, Senator, one more thing. Love your suit."
Oh, classic.
Now, was there any controversy at the Academy Awards when the nominations were coming out about Anthony Hopkins, who had to win, but as a supporting actor or as the main actor, because he was only in the film for 24 and a half minutes?
Yes, great question, Frank, because at the time when the film came out, it immediately received major Oscar buzz. But there was a question, well, was he leading or supporting because he had such limited screen time? And initially, I think some people, including myself, thought he'd be pushed for supporting, but the studio decided to campaign him for lead actor. Apparently, Hopkins himself thought that if he went supporting, it would be almost like begging for it. So he went for lead, and it's funny, he was not the favorite to win. He lost the Golden Globe to Nick Nolte in The Prince of Tides. There was no Screen Actors Guild Awards at the time. And going to the Oscars, Nick Nolte was the heavy favorite because he had a two-punch that year, both Prince of Tides and Cape Fear, directed by Martin Scorsese, starring Robert De Niro. So Nolte was the heavy favorite. Many thought that Hopkins, because his part was smaller and the film was over a year old, was unlikely to win. But when Kathy Bates, the previous year's Best Actress winner, opened the envelope, she said Anthony Hopkins. He jumped out of his seat and got a rousing standing ovation. The audience just went wild. And in hindsight, he was kind of unbeatable because that performance was just unforgettable. Nolte was terrific, no question, but Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs, just one of the great performances of the 20th century. So regardless of the screen time, I think he was perhaps a shoo-in. And by the way, the film was not a favorite to win Best Picture. I mean, if you think about it, in previous years, films like Dances with Wolves and Driving Miss Daisy and Rain Man had won the Oscar for Best Picture. The Academy was very conservative, went with more traditional choices. So for the
More
Silence of the Lambs,
friendly
that's
movies.
right, exactly. So for a film, about a cannibal and a serial killer to win the top 5 Oscars really was unprecedented, and people were surprised, including myself.
Yeah, so interesting. Your background knowledge on this is amazing. Doing a little reading for today's interview, I wanted to comment just briefly on what Connor shared with us. During that scene, apparently, the part where Anthony Hopkins makes fun of her Southern accent was improvised on the spot. And she said it hurt her feelings, and she was so glad he did it because that reaction that she has is 100% real. Just in general, what do you think of Jodie Foster's performance in this?
Oh, no, she was mesmerizing. She was terrific. And it's funny because she was not the director Jonathan Demme's first choice. He'd worked with Michelle Pfeiffer in a film called Married to the Mob, which came out 3 years earlier, and he wanted her for the role of Michelle Pfeiffer. And she turned it down, I think, because of the subject material. And Jodie Foster, she just won the Academy Award for The Accused for Best Actress. And so she got the part, and yeah, she was terrific. And Julia, it's great you brought up that, the scene work between those two, because really, I mean, you could tell that Clarice was intimidated by Dr. Lecter, and indeed, so much of that was so organic. It felt so natural, and that was really hard to pull off. And Foster in the role was just sensational. And really, if you think about two other actors in those roles, I don't know that anyone else could have captured that relationship, that dynamic, as well as those two. And in a sense, too, the way that those characters, as much as she feared him, she actually sort of respected him, and vice versa. And that was really fascinating as well. So just a great portrayal by Jodie Foster, and she won her second Best Actress Oscar in 3 years. Really remarkable.
What about Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill? He has since, by the way, regretted or had. I don't know if I'd say regret, but he didn't like, in hindsight, the role of the transgender being displayed on the big screen like this.
Right, yes. Yeah, there was controversy about that character and its depiction of perhaps what was perceived to be, a cross-dresser or a transgender person. And so, in fact, there actually were protests, ahead of the Academy Awards, over the Silence of the Lambs by, certain gay rights groups and others. And yeah, the depiction, I suppose, in a sense, some people might have taken offense to that. But, regardless of that, I mean, the character was he was demented, so it didn't really matter, and nothing else really mattered. It was just the fact that that character, was so crazy, and he was so important to the storyline. I mean, we had all these suspicions, all these questions about Buffalo Bill. So when we saw him and and witnessed the way that he reacted and the way he reacted to Jodie Foster when they first met on screen, I mean, it really was a terrific performance, and it wouldn't have worked without Ted Levine and that characterization. So it really was important to the film.
Text from a regular listener, love these segments with Tarek, texting me, and they want to know if you think anyone else who wasn't as established as Anthony Hopkins could have played the role without being typecast in future roles, because he's such a despicable, creepy, horrible person, and he's so convincing in here. It just makes your skin crawl. Somebody else may not have been able to move beyond after that role.
Well, they did go after Sean Connery.
That's right. Yes, exactly right. He just won Best Supporting Actor for The Untouchables, film which came out in 1987. And of course, he's a great actor, but somehow Anthony Hopkins, he just made that role his own. I mean, in hindsight, you really can't picture anybody else playing Hannibal Lecter other than Anthony Hopkins. And by the way, he would go on to win Best Actor once again, almost 30 years later, for the film The Father. So now he and Jodie Foster, they're both double Oscar winners. So that's something which I think is really notable as well, that their talents weren't just applauded for that film, but other films as well.
What do you think of the other supporting actors and in this, and how they contributed to the overall success of it?
Oh yes, great supporting cast. They're all pretty small parts, but Scott Glenn, I think, played a very important role, and
Jack Crawford.
He was treated exactly right. He's a great actor and gave a great performance, and a very subdued performance, but played the part very well. Brooke Smith, of course, as the young woman who is who's kidnapped by Ted Levine and held hostage. When you see those scenes of her, being held down there, exactly. I mean, absolutely terrifying, and your heart goes out to her. Of course, because she was trying to help, Buffalo Bill at the beginning, help, get that couch, in the truck, and she's, clearly a
Which
good
is
person.
a little crazy when you think about it. I mean, okay, you see a guy with a broken arm, maybe you help him push it in, but when he says
Have you met me? You don't think
Would
of
you have
myself?
gotten in
Yes,
the van?
I think, and that was what was always so terrifying. Is like I think I've put myself in a million stupid situations like that. The reason I got mugged once was because I was helping somebody pick something up, and so it's like, yeah. So it was disturbing, but I guess a testament to how well the movie is done is there was just a lot of the aspects of it that I think, particularly for female viewers, there's just a lot of disturbing stuff there.
Oh, sure.
And we had the night goggles, which was really well done.
Yeah, that was new, kind of new technology and stuff at that time too. You remember watching it for the first time? I was like, does that really exist?
What I didn't understand is, as soon as she shot him, the lights were on. Did you notice that? I mean,
yeah, I did. Right,
we were
exactly.
looking in all black, and then all of a sudden, she shoots him, and he's dead. But all of a sudden, the lights are on.
Right. Honestly, I'm not really sure about that.
Yeah, well, it worked well for the scene, because then we could really see what was going on.
What about the role of Jodie Foster? Did I hear Michelle Pfeiffer was a possibility?
That's right. Yes, his Meg Ryan was also, I think, approached about it, and I think she's a great actress and would have been terrific. Apparently, Molly Ringwald was considered, but was too young, so I can't really imagine her in the role. But Jodie Foster, like Hopkins as Dr. Lecter, she made Clarice Starling her own, and of course, Julianne Moore took on the role in Hannibal 10 years later, and she was terrific, but still somehow the dynamic between Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins wasn't quite matched. So Jodie Foster, I think, really was Clarice Starling.
Yeah, both. I think Jodie Foster and Gene Hackman at one point wanted to buy the screenplay from the book, because it was a 1988 thriller, I think, and they saw the potential. Before we let you go today, Tarek, I want to talk a little bit. Of course, we lost a legendary Oscar-winning actor this week, Robert Duvall.
Of course, yes.
And I wasn't surprised that he'd been nominated for 7 Oscars. I was surprised that he only won once, though. Do you think that he should have maybe picked up a couple of the other nominations? Should have converted into wins?
All of his performances were fantastic. Of course, when he was nominated for The Godfather for a supporting actor, he was up against his colleagues James Caan and of course Al Pacino. They all lost to Joel Grey in Cabaret. He was just remarkable in Apocalypse Now. He was great in the great Santini film, which came out in 1980. I think Tender Mercies, that really was for him. I love that performance. I'm glad that he won for that. He was also in a film nominated for Best Actor, film which came out in 1997, The Apostle. And it was a very dark,
Frank brought that up yesterday.
He was brilliant. He should have won. He lost to Jack Nicholson in As Good as It Gets, because that film was more popular and The Apostle wasn't as widely seen. But really, Duvall in The Apostle really was as good as it gets. And he should have been, I think, a double Oscar winner.
And what do we have coming up next?
Oh, I think another horror film celebrating its 50th anniversary, The Omen.
Oh,
which was one of the classics we all kind of grew up with and watched over the years, and so I think that'd be a fun one to revisit in 2 weeks.
And did they get any type of Academy Award? The Omen?
Not major categories, but it did win for best score. Okay, so that was an important win for you. Yes.
I want to know how many desserts Frank has bought you to keep winning on all the. We got Rocky, we got all the darkest, scariest movies, but it's a good one. I mean, it's one of those ones that kind of changed movie making, so we got to talk about it.
Great.
For sure. Tarek Khan, you're the best Academy Award expert. Can't wait to see your picks for those SAG-AFTRA awards.
Yes.
I always will put my money on you because you're a great picker. Before we let you go, remember at 20 Minutes to Fitness, one of the great things about it is there are no memberships to buy. Workouts are by appointment only, and you don't wait in long lines for pieces of equipment. I had the experience recently at another gym that will not be named of somebody just kind of camping out on something that I kind of wanted to use and exercise on, but I had no choice because they were there. And that person was feeling free to give me some advice, by the way, that I had not asked for, while I was doing the other pieces of equipment. That's the great thing about 20 Minutes to Fitness. There's no lines. The equipment is all very specialized, and the trainer is taking you from piece of equipment to piece of equipment in a smooth flow. So you just get to work out your entire body. They're in charge of it, and none of those other things that make working out sometimes not nearly as fun as it used to be. I have a few of you reaching out to me, and I love it, on social media saying, I gave it a try because of you. It's not the easiest thing I've ever done, but I am seeing results already. Thanks so much for the recommendation. Of course, you know I absolutely love that. Check them out online. 20 Minutes to Fitness, locations in both Chesterfield and Clayton. Your first session is free.
We sell siding, windows, doors, and decking by the truckload. My name is Julius Krasanik, celebrating 53 years in this business. Our company is Wholesale Siding Depot, and our seasoned customer service group has over 200 years of combined siding, window, door, and decking knowledge. My grandson Elijah says,
"Are you kidding me?"
The brands that we sell are durable, maintenance-free, and energy-saving. Featuring Anderson, CertainTeed, Viwinco, Provia, Masonite, TimberTech, and others, offering the best selection of styles and colors available in this industry. And better yet, our prices are wholesale every day. Last, our Peace of Mind initiative also includes a free contractor referral service to take care of your installation concerns or needs. You are just one click away from keeping it local, family, and professional. Please visit WSDepot.com. That's WSDepot.com.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Hey, it's Heidi, and if the new year means a new look for your home, look no further than Dalco Home Remodeling. Let me just tell you, customers could not be happier. If you're looking for new windows, Dalco Home Remodeling has you covered. If you're looking for a new door, they can custom make you a front door. They can do French doors, they can do sliding doors, and they can stain it or paint it to whatever you have going on or whatever new color you want to add. Let me just tell you about some of the happy clients. You've got Alex, who said, I had Dalco replace several windows and doors on one of my properties, did a top quality job for me, would definitely recommend. And he's just one of many. You know, Dalco Home Remodeling has been around for more than 50 years. They are family owned and family operated. So if you're ready to get your dream project underway, go to DalcoHomeRemodeling.com. You can also give them a call at 314-298-7300.
It's cold. So bring the heat with Dogtown Pizza. Warm up these winter months with one of 13 different flavors, from the new SOB, sausage, onion, bacon, to a 4-meat or veggie. Or how about the all-star this time of year? I'm looking at you, hot chicken. Heat up those ovens and warm up those bones with a hot Dogtown Pizza, and tell Jack Frost to take a hike. These cold winter months are upon us, so take a trek to Dogtown. Dogtown Pizza, of course.
Some of my fondest memories as a kid is heading down to the hardware store. You had to pick up a couple of nails, a couple of screws, maybe a gallon of paint, whatever it may be, right? It was your friendly neighborhood hardware store. Well, those don't exist anymore in St. Louis, except for Schnarr's Hardware. They have 2 locations in Webster Groves and in Clayton Road in Ladue. Schnarr's Hardware is that place where you go in and you can get that bucket of paint, you can get a couple of screws. The advice is always free. And the one thing about Schnarr's Hardware that every single family hardware store used to have, and that is the smell. It smells like a hardware store. It's got the selection. I don't know how they do it. It's a small store, but they got everything you ever need. They got the paint. They got paint matching. They've got big green eggs. They've got screws and nails and everything a hardware store should have. Schnarr's Hardware. 2 locations, 1 great hardware store. Schnarr's Hardware. We'll see you there.
Kirkwood Florist has been a family-owned florist and gift shop since 1951. For over 70 years, Kirkwood Florist has been delivering extraordinary floral experiences every day for every event. Kirkwood Florist has an award-winning design team, friendly customer service and logistics staff, and a great gift shop. They offer same-day, fast delivery to most St. Louis areas if in by noon, with fresh flowers, plants, and unique gift items. Kirkwood Florist, family-owned since 1951. KirkwoodFlorist.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online and see their entire inventory at Bommarito.com.
Want a song? Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show, second hour of the show today. Fun conversation, as always, with Tariq Khan, our Academy Award expert, looking back on a movie from 35 years ago today, Silence of the Lambs. And we talked at the top of the show, Connor, a bit about the fact that you actually thought this, compared to some other movies in the world, they did a better job at continuing the storyline a bit.
I don't know if that's true. They're definitely not good, the movies, but I think the show is good. Hannibal is good. And the movies are fine, and then they fall off the rails. But the
further out we got from the
out
original,
you get, the worse it is.
How do you think the original stands the test of time?
Yeah, the original's great. I love this movie.
Yeah, good to know that. So we're gonna reverse the order today. I ran across a almost hauntingly honest interview that the Bob Dylan did on 60 Minutes a few years ago. With, of course, the great Ed Bradley, where he just talks honestly about his life as a young songwriter and whether he could do it today. Yeah, he goes on to say, I mean, he tried really hard, and then he had to recognize that as he got older, that perhaps there was a season to his ability to write lyrics like that just flowed from, he didn't know exactly whether you think it was divinely guided or something else. And so I thought it'd be fun to listen to the song "It's All Right, Ma" that has some of the lyrics that he referenced in that interview. He was a poet. I think everybody can completely agree on that. And one of the things that I think a lot of people thought that was chronicled in the movie A Complete Unknown, which I really enjoyed, the biographical drama that came out starring Timothy Chalamet. I thought he was excellent as a young Bob Dylan, is that there was this idea, at least among people in the folk world, that he, as a poet and a folk musician, that you would lose the lyrics if you started adding like electric guitar or more complicated music behind it. His point was always the words are the words, and these are just new ways to reach different audiences with these ideas. And I don't know, it kind of makes sense to me now that I listen to him talk about his process.
That was one fascinating movie, wasn't it?
It was
bizarre.
It was, and one of the fun characters, the actors who had a major role as a supporting actor, and it was Norbert Butz, who's here from St. Louis, who's originally from St. Louis. One of the most lauded award Broadway actors, and he has a really good role in this movie as well. And we're working to get him on the show in one of our Success St. Louis segments coming up here in the not too distant future. But he was very good in that film as well, for sure. Excuse me, you guys, got a little cough coming on here. One of the things that I was reading in an article in Small Business Monthly, that one of the things for small and medium-sized businesses that catches up with them over time is they tend to not keep a close enough eye on cash flow in their business. And they kind of have an idea of what needs to come in, what needs to go out, what expenses are, blah, blah, blah. And that's about as sophisticated as my knowledge gets when I read an article like that. But I thought to myself, gosh, if you had somebody on your team like Jeff Zufall, Capital Advisory Group, who loves more than anything consulting with small, medium business owners, really business owners in general, about how to have a better understanding about how to maximize profitability, understand cash flow, and make sure you never get in that situation where you think things are going great and then all of a sudden there's a pivot, whether it's a world event or just something that goes wrong in your physical building, that all of a sudden gets the train off the rails in a way that can threaten the life of your business. And having Jeff on your team is one of the ways that you can make your business more foolproof, more recession-proof, more ability to pivot around changes that just naturally occur in the life cycle of a business with the plot twists that show up in our daily lives. If you're a small business owner, if you have one in your life, I really recommend that you take the time to set up a strategy session with Jeff and his team at Capital Advisory Group. Capital Advisory, grp.com, 636-394-5524.
Everyone's talking about these weight loss drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment. You fill out a health questionnaire form. You get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home. And then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners. And then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
The University of Missouri-St. Louis is committed to providing top-ranked education. More than 80% of our students receive financial aid. At UMSL, more is what moves us. Find your more and explore your financial aid options at more.umsl.edu.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
Attention KTRS listeners, Appliance Discounters has a deal for you. Shop now and receive an instant 5% rebate off your next appliance purchase. 5% instant savings off their already low prices. And you can receive other factory rebates, some up to $1,500 direct from the manufacturer. Huge savings, locally owned, next day delivery, 18 months interest-free financing. Appliance Discounters with 6 area locations or online at theappliancediscounters.com.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
For all of your travel needs, you go to the best travel agency in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased. Altair Travel and Cruises. They'll take you wherever you want to go in style. They'll handle all the details. You handle all the fun. Don't go to the Googles. Don't make that mistake. It all starts at Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, 968-9600. Anywhere you want to go, let Altair Travel take you. AltairTravel.com.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
And welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. If you've missed the program, you've missed a great interview with Tariq Khan talking about Silence of the Lambs, starring Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster. Ted Levine, Buffalo Bill. Brooke Smith was Catherine Martin. I thought Scott Glenn, who played the part of Jack Crawford, do you think he had like a little thing for Clarice? Do you think he
100%. And it was kind of in the days, it was before Me Too and all that stuff, where I guess it wouldn't have seemed as, it did, this watching, that was one of the things I didn't think stood the test of time necessarily. It was pretty obvious. Everybody was like, let's go after the young FBI recruit, and no one will think twice about it.
You know who also was in it, Connor? You will get this from Seinfeld, is Daniel von Bargen, who was George's boss, and he was showing up at a Festivus.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, you're right.
And Jill, from your TV background, have you ever heard of a guy named George Michael?
The singer?
Not from Wham. Not from Wham or the other guy from Wham? No, I didn't.
I think he has like a cameo. George Michael is the most famous local sportscaster of all time. He had the George Michael Sports Machine, which we aired on Channel 5 after Sports Plus for years. And I think he has like a little cameo in it too.
Yeah, is he one of the Southern, that whole side plot that I'd forgotten about, that they were down in the South with all those sheriffs? And in that scene, that was good stuff. Hey, we haven't talked about it yet. It's really been captivating and bothering me. The Tahoe skiers, the unknown fate of these missing skiers in Tahoe, the avalanche. I mean, I
didn't hear about this.
Okay, so there were a group of people who were 9 backcountry skiers, and like lots of parts of the country, you and I've talked about it off the air. It's not a great year for snow skiing this year. The West is really short on snow. And recently, several feet of fresh, unstable snow came into the high Sierras, and commercial resorts were happy, but they had to shut down the freeways to get there. But a group of 15, including 4 professional ski guides, the clients, headed out for a 3-day backcountry ski, which is where you go. You know, you have to be an expert skier to be able to do it. And when they were going back from one of the huts, in a raging storm, an avalanche struck, and 9 of them are still missing. 2 transported to the hospital, 6 skiers rescued with varying injuries. But God, it's really a tough situation. It's been a long time, since 1982, since there was anything like this happening out in Lake Tahoe.
10 skiers. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
So my parents lived in Colorado from 1987 until the early 2000s, and so my college years and my early 20s spent a lot of time there, and I certainly never had anything close to anything like an avalanche. 2 scary things. So once there was a giant sort of wall of snow that came down on the interstate, like a few car lengths ahead of us, that shocked us because we thought, boy, if that would have just come down on top of us, this would not have been good.
Did it come down on someone else?
It did not hit. Okay. It was between cars, but it shut down the road. I mean, there was no way to get around it. And so we were just sort of on this rather perilous kind of turn on the highway, waiting for crews to come in and clear out the space. And then a same thing happened once ahead of us. I didn't see it happen, but a giant boulder had fallen in the summertime when we were there. They tried to secure some of the most obvious precarious ones, but it had come down and hit the interstate. And I just thought, wow, that'd be really, really bad luck if one of those puppies came down on your car.
Driving on the mountain roads, I never really care for.
And you have a brother out there who does it, I'm sure, all the time because he's a skier.
He's going to and from those the mountain. I don't know. It's real steep. Some of them are real narrow, like 1 lane each way. Yeah. It's just like I don't know. I always get a little nervous.
I think it's the kind of thing where actually the locals have a more reasonable fear of it than sometimes it's the people that aren't from there.
And then you get the out-of-towners that are, I'm going to drive on this like a normal road. And then,
right.
And then
I'm here from Texas, and I never drive on ice, but here I am on a high mountain road that I'm going to be just fine coming in and out of the tunnel there. Skiing's never been your jam, though, Frank.
No. It hasn't. I would not allow the kids to do it while they were playing in high school and college. And sure enough, as soon as Brooke finished her college career, she went to Colorado. Yeah, Dad, I'm going to go ski. I'll show you. And tore her ACL.
So you didn't want them to get injured. That was the
that's
reason?
the only reason, yeah.
And there are a lot of injuries from skiing, for sure.
But you only have one chance to be a high school athlete or a college athlete. Just, you can do it after you're 22.
And so not even like out at Hidden Valley or anything. They just completely did not.
No.
So that's probably what she was trying to learn as a 20-something-year-old.
And now she just got back. She's loves it to death.
Because she married into some skiers
Yes,
in a
that's
family
right.
of skiers, which does make a difference as well. What is your skiing ability, Anna?
Pretty good. Got taught young. A lot of people in my family ski.
From the Michigan roots? Because there's some decent skiing up in...
It's not bad. It's better than here, but it's certainly no big mountains.
No.
The
But I
Rockies.
think there's some skiing in Michigan that compares to some of the East Coast skiing, like in Vermont.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then I had an uncle that lived in Park City for a long time, so we would go out and see him every year. He doesn't live there anymore.
Yeah, that is some good skiing as well. Very good stuff. Well, shall we take a quick break?
Yeah.
And we'll be back after this. But first, I want to remind you guys, our friends over at the Gatesworth Communities want you to know sometimes people don't quite understand the breadth and depth of senior living opportunities that are available to us here in St. Louis, thanks to the Gatesworth Communities, because that under the Gatesworth umbrella, we have the Gatesworth, we have McKnight Place, assisted living and memory care, and then, of course, we have our friends over at Park Provence, which is nationally known as being the right memory care community for so many people, even though finding the right memory care community is really daunting. How do you find the right provider for your loved one? And I think one of the things they tell us, the experts tell us, look for the experts. And you not just one or two experts, but an expert village of memory care clinicians, a village of highly skilled nurses and staff for every stage of dementia, from assisted living where things are just starting to slip to needing that full skilled nursing care. And Park Provence offers the most advanced care available for both dementia and Alzheimer's disease, providing quality of life. There's all kinds of programs meant to nurture mind, body, and spirit. Many consider it just absolutely a leader and unparalleled. If it's time to just have the conversation, write this number down, 314-542-2500 to learn more, or schedule a tour, or visit parkprovence.com. That's PARCPROVENCE.com. Right back after this.
We'll admit, we've already thrown in the towel on the New Year's resolution.
Yeah, and we made it through dry January. But one healthy new habit we're sticking with is Active Liver from New Nordic. Did you know your liver works around the clock processing food, sugar, alcohol, and everyday toxins? All things that can really impact your health.
That's why daily support matters. Active Liver is designed to help protect normal liver function and support your body's natural detox process.
With trusted ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and artichoke extract, it's gentle enough to take all year long.
No harsh cleanses, no extreme detoxes, just simple daily liver support. We really feel the difference.
Yup, more energy and the peace of mind knowing we can enjoy the good things in life while giving our liver the love it needs.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com. Or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
John Beal Roofing has been proudly serving homeowners and businesses in the St. Louis metro area on both sides of the river in Missouri and Illinois for over 3 generations. A dependable roof begins with a team you can count on. And that's exactly what you get with John Beal Roofing. Recognized as one of Roofing Contractor Magazine's top 100 roofing companies, John Beal Roofing offers 24/7 emergency service and industry-leading warranties, including a lifetime workmanship warranty for total peace of mind. From upgrading an aging roof or completing a full replacement, the team at John Beal Roofing delivers solutions that are built to code, built to last, and handled with expert care. John Beal also responds quickly with reliable storm damage services backed by decades of experience and 24/7 emergency support. Get started today for expert service and a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 1-800-NEW-ROOF. That's 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
File your taxes for free with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. Just file on your own in the Credit Karma app by February 28th. Valid for those who didn't file with TurboTax last year.
Celebrate jazz legend John Coltrane with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in a special one-night-only event, Coltrane 100. Legacy. Celebrate Coltrane's creative genius through powerful orchestral arrangements of his most groundbreaking works. Curated and arranged by acclaimed composer Carlos Simon, this performance features saxophone icon Joe Lovano in a journey from Coltrane's early classics to his late visionary masterpieces. It's jazz, symphony, and legacy, all in one unforgettable night with your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. February 28th at 7:30 p.m. at Powell Hall. Tickets at slso.org.
Welcome back, everybody. Frank and Jill Show, wrapping up the second hour. Good conversations today. You think we're maybe going to be able to get Corey in one more time to talk about his experiences of covering the Olympics?
Texted about 6 times during this program. He keeps telling me, Canada's on the ropes, Canada's on the ropes. It's a 2-2 game with about 9 minutes to go with Canada and Czechia. So Canada's got to win this game if we're going to have that final that everybody wants on Sunday morning on NBC.
Yeah, and it's going to be really good. I know I'll ask him his. Do you think, based on your conversations so far, and we'll get into it more with him if we're able to talk to him tomorrow, that it has lived up to his experience of covering the Olympics, has A, lived up to the expectations, and B, whetted his appetite to want to do this more often, or to check it off his list?
Oh, I'm sure he wants to do it more often. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that he has been granted a little bit more access than previous reporters have had in the past. So that's been the good thing. He's able to talk to the Kachucks. He's able to talk to Joy Dunn, right after the game. In the past, they'd put him up on a podium and they'd send some other pool reporter, but he's gotten good access, so he enjoyed it.
If I was somebody who had all kinds of money to pay for celebrity endorsements, Joy Dunn would be at the top of my list. She is a great talker. She is beautiful. She's enthusiastic. She's a great athlete and sounds like a really great human. I just think I would want her to sell anything for me. I'd put her on a Wheaties box so fast. And she's done well in this Olympics, but you can tell she's just on the rise.
Her sister, Jinsey, is equally as beautiful and equally as charismatic. It's just unbelievable. And then they got a brother that plays in the
And
NHL.
Is she older or younger than her? I've forgotten.
Jinsey was the first one. Yeah, she was a star early. She's a little bit older. So.
And so has she had a chance to be on the Olympic stage?
I'm not positive if she did, but she was a great, great player. Yeah.
And your own experience when you were covering the Olympics, you did it once in person in Atlanta.
Yes.
Summer Olympic Games, but it was more of a check it off the list for you. You didn't have a desire to go back. Season of life difference between you and Corey because you had little kids at home or kids?
Well, definitely that, and being gone for 30 days. And access-wise, it's not like a great storytelling. The people at actually NBC, they have unbelievable access, and you can tell, sit down with them one-on-one. But in terms of like great storytelling, it's not. It's more standing in front of a camera and pitching to your sound bites. But, look, I'm not saying it's not a great thing, and I'm glad he got the opportunity.
We have, it's still continuing to dominate the news, particularly on NBC, the story of Nancy Guthrie. And one of the things that it sort of highlighted that I hadn't thought about before, and I'd be very interested in what you guys think, Connor and Frank, is this idea that in terms of kidnapping, it seems to be they're leaning away from potentially thinking this is a kidnapping, but the use of cryptocurrency that was not really used, for instance, in things like ransom, shows that is a real challenging situation because it's very hard to track who the recipient is or how that goes. And there's a pretty good article in Wired magazine that I came across that crypto-funded human trafficking is exploding. It hasn't really made the news cycle in a lot of places because there's a lot of other stuff going on. But it's the frictionless, transnational, low regulation transaction. We were all promised this is going to be the greatest thing, and that's where people are going to make money. It makes it really easy. We used to, and Catherine Hanaway's talked a bit about it. You talk about an easy way to launder your money or to hide when you're doing nefarious things. And I hadn't thought about that before, but all of a sudden reading a little bit about it in the last couple of days after this article caught my attention, I was like, yeah, yikes.
Well, part of the idea of crypto and Bitcoin in general is that like you do have a defined log exactly like where and who is in possession of this. I think part of the problem is like the who is in possession of that can just be like a random account with no verification or ID.
You create an avatar.
Yeah, or it's just like a server somewhere that there's no way to know who is actually getting sent this. So like that's part of the appeal actually is that you do know exactly who owns this. But the problem is when you're doing like criminal stuff, the who is not actually doesn't actually have to be like a person or an easily identifiable way. So I don't know. I don't know if they'll ever change that. That kind of would defeat the purpose of the
well,
crypto.
And I was like, well, that's kind of how it had been presented to me too. It's like there's it's an easier way to get money from point A to point B, and you know where it's coming from. But then this stuff, I think the fatal flaw in this is that if you can't know if you just get to pretend you're somebody that you're not.
Right, or it's like, oh, it's an anonymous little thing out here somewhere in some lockbox, and that's part of the problem. Although I guess it's kind of the same deal as McGraw and I were talking about this. It was like back in the day, kidnappers would ask for hey, bring me some money in a park, and I'll come have someone come pick it up. It's like there's always going to be some way to ransom and try to get currency, right? I don't know how you can avoid that.
Yeah.
How about the news of the day that the investigators are still trying to find the pacemaker, which that should be able to be tracked. I mean, I can understand that one.
I can't either. So it either means that it's not been operating, which is not good news as the child of somebody who has a pacemaker. And I was always so amazed by that technology because I was with my dad once when he got a call and it's like your battery's running low. We're going to have to get this taken care of sooner than later, or there's something going on with one of your leads, and they could track it even before years ago they were able to do this tracking my phone. So there's something to that. Great point brought up today on the Today Show, though, Frank, that we're used to watching 3-part series or 5-part series on true crime stuff, or stuff that gets wrapped up in an hour, even when it's documentary. That a lot of this technology, which is phenomenal and exists, still takes time. DNA technology can take 6 weeks or beyond. And all these cases where it's played a really, really big role, for instance, in the Idaho mass murders, University of Idaho students, it hasn't happened immediately. But because we know this person, a lot of us are like, wait a second, why is this taking so long? And we just immediately go to something's being bungled and not, there's just a lot of things happening that take some time.
Another quick topic. The miracle at Milan is happening. Czechia has scored. They lead 3-2 as we speak. This would be the upset of the Olympics. And,
this is early to give it a name here, Frank.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to come up with some alliteration here. The miracle at Milan for Czechia. By the way, Joe, in a response to what you said earlier, 10 to 11 players from the NHL play for Czechia. So not quite, the miracle on ice, but still, this would be an upset of all upsets when you look at that Canada team. So, wow.
They were heavily favored. If you just looked at to win, it was like 4 or 5 to 1. Canada was favored to win.
And the sad thing is they're not going to let Jordan Binnington back in the country of Canada. If they lose this game, I didn't see how the goal was scored. But
none of them were his fault, but it's
because he's done very well so far.
He's done pretty good. Yeah, he had a shutout, and then he gave up 2, and then. But if you're the losing goalie, that's a tough shot. That's not his fault. But if you're a losing goalie for Canada in this game, you're going to catch the heat, whether it's rightfully or wrongfully.
We can love hockey so much, and there's some diehard hockey fans in St. Louis and in Chicago and other cities, but we don't have the same collective. People in Canada, it's a good or bad day based on how. I mean,
like if the Kachucks like made a mistake and they blew the game and the U.S. lost, like they would take it hard, and some people would take it hard. But the next time they showed up, we'd be all happy to see them. And there would be no national villain for life,
right? And
like
the vista of people from the oldest grandma down to the youngest kid who just it's what. Followed the amount of time it gets on sports coverage and local coverage. It's not that they don't have other sports, but really there's a lot more collective attention in Canada on the sport of hockey.
And you factor in like the avalanche of bad publicity about Jordan Binnington becoming their goaltender with his really, really below average start to the NHL season. And you're thinking, this is Team Canada, and you're picking the guy who's like 47th out of 50 goalies, and now they could end up losing. Granted, maybe those goals weren't his fault, but he's going to catch the heat.
Yeah, that's a rough situation to come into. So how many people did you say were totally on the team?
10 or 11 NHL players are on the team.
Out of?
Like 25.
Okay, so it's definitely, but did I hear correctly on the air this morning that it was most of the Swedish team is NHL people, or is it the same kind of percentage?
No, all of the Swedish team is in the NHL.
So we really could have a
a
run for our money today.
It'll be a big game later.
Can you imagine we're all thinking United States and Canada on that Sunday on national TV, and it could be Sweden and Czechia? Ooh. Let's hope not.
Yes, I have some. I was an exchange student in Sweden for a short time in my high school years, and still very close to the family that hosted me there. And so we give each other. They were jubilant when Sweden won the gold in curling over, and I was like jubilant that we got the silver because the U.S. never even plays this. But what really gets them is how much higher Norway is on the medal count compared to Sweden. There's a lot more mountains.
Norway's in first.
Yeah, a lot more mountains in Norway than in Sweden. Fun show, you guys. Thanks so much for being part of the show, for lending your voice on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line, and we will be back tomorrow. And Frank, we've got a really fun, we're going to have a fun, not restaurant, but wonderful place to get food at Missouri Baking tomorrow.
Yes.
Weekly
home of
special.
The chocolate drop, one of the great things I've ever tasted in St. Louis. The Lordo family will be joining us at 11 o'clock. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in 22 hours. Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
Mike Lippert here for Lisi Lumber, a family-owned company that's been serving the area since 1872. You've heard McGraw mention our knowledgeable staff, excellent customer service, and the best of woods. We're now producing and delivering custom prefabricated trellis